Hey everybody, this is Patriots Worldwide. Welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm going to talk about our disappointing defeat versus the Houston Texans and the bright side of Drake Maye's NFL debut. I'm also going to give my predictions and thoughts on this upcoming matchup versus the Jacksonville Jaguars this Sunday in London. Without further ado, let's begin and get right into it. The most frustrating part about watching this game was watching our defense allow 41 points. Watching this defense on the field gave me secondhand embarrassment, and I know you really can't point the finger at anyone specific because there are a lot of asterisks and you can't entirely blame coaching, but this play calling just does not seem to work, and it's not been working the past 5 weeks, so why would you continue to use it now? It's not going to change if it hasn't worked all year. But what I think everyone wants to talk about and is most excited about is the electric debut of quarterback Drake Maye, throwing for 243 yards and rushing for 38 yards, having unfortunately 2 interceptions on the day, but throwing for 3 touchdowns. He's also the first quarterback and player since the 1950s to lead his team in both passing and rushing. It's a very exciting statistic and a very exciting debut for the young rookie. Coming into the regular season, the conversation on everybody's mind was when will Drake Maye make his regular season debut? I had him coming in late in the season, week 14 against the Arizona Cardinals, as we know because I've mentioned that in the past few episodes. Going into this game, had a lot of anxiety on my, and I'm sure everybody else's mind, that we were going to ruin Drake Maye's development and potentially set this franchise even further back than it already is. However, coming into this game, Drake showed that he was cool, calm, and collected and proved a ton of people wrong, especially me. He showed that not only was he ready to play, but he balled out and he played like he had a chip on his shoulder. Truthfully, looking at this performance, maybe we should have started him from week 1, but it was better to be safe than sorry. Drake Maye showcased his 2 key skills that our last few quarterbacks have lacked, which are mental toughness and leadership skills. After throwing an interception, a lot of people were quickly to write Drake off and have a lot of heavy criticism towards him. However, the kid was unfazed and eventually led this team to 3 scoring drives on multiple possessions. We learned by that interception Drake was just very jittery and overly excited as he's still a rookie making his debut living his childhood dreams. But those plays and the way he was able to conduct this team in the huddle and the way this team really just loves him, gravitates towards him, you can tell that we have a leader for the foreseeable future. And I couldn't be more excited, as I'm sure all of you can't contain it either. So going forward, I cannot wait to see what he does for the rest of his career, let alone this season. In the third quarter, Drake Maye orchestrated another great offensive drive, capping it off with a 5-yard touchdown throw to Hunter Henry and giving Drake a second passing touchdown on the afternoon. And late in the fourth quarter, around the 9-minute 49 mark, Drake would throw it to Demario Douglas, who would take the ball 35 yards to the end zone, resulting in his first ever touchdown reception in his second year and Drake's third passing touchdown on his young career and third of the day. The rookie ended the day with a hat trick, included 2 interceptions and 38 rushing yards. Fun little fact, Drake Maye threw more touchdowns in one game than Jacoby Brissett did all season, with Jacoby throwing 2 and Drake throwing 3, and all the rookie quarterbacks combined that have made a start up to this point took them multiple games to throw 1 touchdown, where Drake took really 1/2 to throw his first touchdown, and resulting in 2 more as the game progressed. So far, I don't care what anybody says. I think New England has made the best quarterback selection of this past draft, and we are just continuing to get better and grow as the years go on. Unfortunately, that was all we could do. The Pats lost 41-21, and this loss was just really devastating and frustrating for Drake because he played his heart out and he just really had himself a great debut, and unfortunately it just was on the wrong side of things. Coach Mayo was understandably frustrated and seemed very irritated, claiming that there were going to be a lot of changes coming soon, but I'll believe it when I see it. Other than that, we got the early morning game in in London against Jacksonville. Yeah, we're going to be playing overseas. It's going to be a good game. I'll get into that right now. And as I just mentioned, we'll be facing the Jacksonville Jaguars in London at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So get up early, set multiple alarms if you have to. Just get up if you want to watch this game. But fun little interesting bit of information here is the Jags are 1-5 and their head coach is Doug Peterson, the same Doug Peterson who coached the Philadelphia Eagles in the 2017 Super Bowl, which we ultimately lost. And as a fan, who I'm sure a lot of us are not over that game, if we win, if we beat the Jags, Doug Peterson could be on his way out, and that's just a little bit of vengeance for a game that I haven't gotten over yet. Just basing off of the Texans game, this offense should have their first 30-point game they've had since October of 2022, which is just atrocious and just really embarrassing to think about. I'm expecting Drake to have an overall 4 touchdown performance, maybe 300 yards through the air, 2 passing touchdowns, potentially 2 rushing touchdowns. I just want to see the kid just ball out and continue to prove that he's the best quarterback of this draft. And lastly, I expect this defense to have a bounce back game after last week's performance, especially Christian Gonzalez. As a fan base, we all want him to have an individually great game this Sunday and record an interception, as they're always fun to talk about and it's always fun to watch. If this defense wants to prove that they're better than who they were last week, they're going to have to hold this offense to 21 points or less, and I will get into how they can do that in the Keys to Victory segment now. The keys to victory on offense are very simple. We just got to let Drake Maye cook once again by airing the ball out, finding open receivers, and taking advantage of Jacksonville's secondary. The offensive line, as shaky as they are, have been holding up all right, and they have to create openings and gaps once more to make the rushers get through, specifically Drake Maye, Antonio Gibson, possibly A.J. Terrell, and maybe Ramondre Stevenson, as he's been dealing with the issues in training camp these past few days, but they still flew him out to London, so I wouldn't see the logic of flying a man overseas just for him to ride the bench as a healthy scratch. Really doesn't make sense to me, but we'll see what happens. On defense, we just have to make the pass rush extremely aggressive and make Trevor Lawrence uncomfortable in the pocket, as he'll have nobody to throw to, and we will take advantage and capitalize on the mistakes that Jacksonville is making. On special teams, I have no doubt or question that Joey Sly will deliver, as our special teams unit, both kicking and punting, have been holding up extremely well and have been good, and Joey Sly is our best kicker since the legend Nick Folk. Besides that, I don't see a world where this offense does not put up 28 points or more, because we just tore up the Texans defense, and the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is not that better, let alone not that good at all. So we'll just see what happens, but those are my keys to victory, and that's it. Alright, I've said everything I wanted to say, and I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Thank you all so much for listening. I look forward to doing this all again next week. I apologize for the lack of content, but I do hope you enjoyed the Drake Maye episode, as his performance last week was really the only positive takeaway that I wanted to talk about. But going into this game versus the Jags, I expect both the offense and defense to make a lot of plays collectively, and it will give me a lot more to talk about and a ton of positive takeaways for the future. This game, I fully guarantee a win, as I don't expect us to lose, and I don't see a way we can lose this one, although I've been wrong before. But ultimately, we'll see what happens. I think this will be a good one regardless, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. The only downside is getting up at 9 in the morning to watch a football game, but you know what? It is what it is. Thank you all for listening. I hope you have a good day or night, and let's get this victory Sunday. Go Pats.
Go Pats!